Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we are going to give speaking feedback for Zainab's test. She did very well, but let's see exactly how well she did and give her some comments. Let's get into it.
Okay, good morning. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Zainab Ali. You can simply call me Zainab.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. Now,
Nice, straight to the point. My name is you can simply call me Wonderful.
in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Firstly, do you work or do you study?
I just graduated last month. I did my bachelor's in public
Very natural. I just graduated last month. It's not it's an explicitly direct answer to the question, but it's perfectly relevant, very natural way of answering.
administration with a major in public policy. Right now, I'm working as a freelance content
Okay, I'd like her to take a short breath. Full stop. Right now, I'm working. Doesn't need to speak so quickly.
writer.
And
But
what
shows she's very comfortable with the language. Speaking quickly can be a sign of very good fluency. Sometimes it can make our pronunciation a little too rushed and a little bit too unnatural. So, while of course we want to make sure that we maintain a good pace, a good speed, we don't want to sound like we're too slow, we should be careful that we don't go too far the other side and rush our speech, because rushing our speech can also be unnatural.
do you like about your job?
Well, mostly it's remote. So I like that I can simply work in my own environment house and I don't have to go outside. It's very hot outside. So I can just on the AC.
Just notice a little bit of, shaking backwards and forwards. This can be a sign occasionally that a candidate is feeling nervous. Now, you are not judged on your body language in the IELTS test. You're not judged on your eye contact, your body language, how much you smile, but still, sometimes shaking or rocking backwards and forwards can be a sign of stress, and oftentimes when we feel stressed, we tend to speak a little bit too quickly. Psychologically, we are saying, I'm a linguist, not a psychologist, but psychologically, we speak quickly because we want to get out of the situation as soon as possible and then run away. So it could be a sign of nerves. If that is the case, if you feel nervous, there's nothing wrong with feeling nervous. It is a strange situation, whether you're taking a practice test with me or whether you're taking the real test with your IELTS examiner. It is an uncomfortable situation and it is perfectly natural to feel nervous, but we can also understand that we can take action against this, whether that's breathing techniques, whether that's practicing while recording ourselves or something like this, adding extra pressure to our speech. But look up online how to deal with stress. Some of us manage to do it better than others. That's absolutely fine. But try to keep, try not to rock so much back and forth.
And work. And plus, I don't have any time limits or any working hours.
Time limit, working hours, really nice natural stuff.
And do you think you will stay in this job for a long time?
Yes, it's already been 6 months.
So beautiful range here. It's already been 6 months. Just nice use of already before the verb and also hitting present perfect. Very natural. Good range of grammar.
So I think my boss is very satisfied with me. And I think we'll have a very long-term relationship.
So she's used think a couple of times. Think is a vastly overused word. We use it all the time. Native L1 users of English use think, 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 think. There are always, we should look sometimes for more variety, but I don't think it's really going to hold Zainab back at all. So far, just from the opening two questions, I'm already placing her as an 8. Already in my mind, I'm thinking this is an 8. Now, she could do worse, she could do better, she could go up to a 9, down to a 7, but I already know she is not getting less than a 7, and she's not getting more than a 9. So I have my floor, my ceiling, and in the middle, thinking 8. That quickly.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to move on and talk about fast food. What kind of fast foods have you tried?
Well, I think every kind of fast food, but mostly I eat pizza and burgers.
So that answer is a little bit short, right? Well, all kinds of fast food, but mostly I like pizzas and burgers. It's short, but keep in mind that you will not be punished for one short answer. When scores are given, the thing that is thought about, the thing that we think about is the test on the whole, right? So does the candidate in general respond fully to questions, and does she or he generally fully extend their answers? So first question that I asked, the answer was extended fully. This one was a little short. So now I'm going to keep my eye on that. What about the next question? Does she extend that one fully, or does she give a short answer for that? Too many short answers could be a problem here. So let's see what happens.
And do you ever use a microwave to cook food quickly?
No, I prefer the stove because I've heard a lot of scientific researches about the microwave harmful.
So research is uncountable in English, so we don't use like researches. Studies, they can be countable, right? So I've read 3 scientific studies, or I've read some scientific studies, but research is uncountable, so we don't use the plural form. It has no plural form. I've read some scientific research. Just a minor, tiny error. Let's just go back.
No, I prefer the stove because I've heard a lot of scientific researches about the microwave harmful X-rays. So my parents try to tell us to avoid it.
And how
Okay, reasonably full. I mean, it's just a couple of sentences. I think it could have been extended a little bit more, but it's okay.
popular are fast food restaurants where you live?
I think they're very popular. We have an app called Food Panda. I think it's worldwide, and lots of people use it. We have very affordable rates for our these.
Wonderful awareness of style and collocation. We have affordable rates. Okay, rates for a food app. Prices is probably better, but still like this adjective affordable.
Kinds of things, and there are a lot of home chefs that have recently come up, so we can satisfy with ourselves that
We can satisfy with ourselves. Sounds strange. We can be satisfied, maybe is the adjective. We can be satisfied with ourselves.
we're eating homemade food and not fast food, but it's actually fast food. But it's
Well, nice use of actually here to clear up misinformation. Nice cohesive device.
homemade, so maybe that's
So she's balancing here. She's like conceding, well, maybe that's why, but this is also, but perhaps this. And that's a normal thing to do when you're not sure about things. You know, you weigh it up in your own mind, you throw different points across, and then you land on some type of conclusion. It's a very natural way of responding. Good.
Let's move on now and talk about the news. How often do you check the news?
well, as a public policy student, I have had to always check the news
As a public policy student, nice. Nice little adverbial there. I have always had to.
because it's part of my exam. But now after graduating, it's been
So I like this, right? That's a good way to extend. You can compare past and present. So in the past, I da 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 da, but nowadays, I da 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 da. That's a nice strategy.
quite a while since I've actually heard the news.
Quite a while. It's been quite a while. Not just a long time, but it's been quite a while. Amazing.
But I do occasionally skim through it.
Adding that auxiliary do, I do occasionally skim through it. I do occasionally skim through it. So, of course, we all know that in present simple, I skim through it, I play football, I listen to music, but I do occasionally do it. It's used, we have to be careful in how we add these auxiliaries to present simple, because it doesn't always work. But Zainab is showing amazing understanding of appropriacy here, when it is correct to add, or when it is suitable to add that auxiliary. Very nice. Can be missed. The untrained ear can miss it, but it's very high level. Oh, we teach it at B2, but students don't acquire it until C1, C2, but good.
And what kind of news stories are you most interested in?
I'm more interested in the politics side, but occasionally also the entertainment side also.
Occasionally also the entertainment side also, so a little bit of overuse of also, but I'm not going to be pedantic.
And does the news in your country focus more on local events or global events?
On local events, our parliament is
I love that intonation. On global events or local events? On local events. So she's repeating what I said, but she's repeating it back to me with a different type of intonation, which shows great skill in pronunciation, even if it doesn't show great skills of paraphrasing, which we don't always need, but we need some evidence of paraphrasing. Wonderful. On global events or local events? On local events. Beautiful intonation, really natural.
Full of instability, political instability, economic instability, and fights. So it's kind of amusing to see all the leaders fight and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So she's also, I like the fact that she's laughing, coupling that with the word amusing. It's amusing to see all the leaders fight. Haha. It's good.
Thank you. Now,
doesn't feel very effective for me to say it's good all the time. I could say that the intonation in her voice, the humorous intonation in her voice, adds more than simply conveying meaning. So we're not just using clear pronunciation to explain what we mean, but we're adding this humorous intonation to show the listener that this is something that is funny. So even if you take away all of the words, the listener still knows that you are talking about something amusing, something humorous. Right, so my pronunciation here is enhancing the meaning of what I'm saying. Cool, good.
Now, in this next part of the test.
All right, so that's the end of part one. She started very, very strong. I'm glad that the rocking has stopped a little bit. We'll see if she gets back to it in part 2 and 3, which can be stressful. But so far, answers are reasonably well developed. 1 or 2 instances, perhaps of some short responses. Vocab is very, 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 very strong. We have a couple of slips with grammar, just a couple of slips with grammar. There was that thing with like researches instead of research. And I think there was one more grammar slip too, wasn't there? I've forgotten already because I'm distracted by the strong performance. Pronunciation is very clear. Intonation is perfect. A full range. I think we get a full range of phonological sounds. And I will listen to some of the vowel sounds just to see if we get like super precise, those differences between I and E, or and oo, the good and school, oo. Will I hear some of those precise phonological features? I'm kind of going to focus on that, I think, in part 2, because I already know her vocab is out of this world. Grammar, absolutely fine. Fluency and coherence. Fluency and cohesion. I'm checking too much writing, really too much. Fluency and cohesion, absolutely fine. Answers are extended, lots of discourse markers, nice concession, like weighing up points of view and landing on a conclusion. All of that stuff's good. So I'm going to listen a little bit for like exact phonological precise features. And maybe a little bit of grammar too. Let's see if there is a nice range of structures there. See if we get any ambitious grammar like we got in part 1.
I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare for your talk, and you may take notes if you wish.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for my voice and appearance. I was kind of tired and a little bit sick here.
I will now share the topic on my screen. I'd like you to talk about a special event you attended. Your 1 minute preparation time starts now.
Here comes my beautiful editing.
Okay, that's the end of your preparation time.
Amazing.
To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, so don't worry if I stop you at the end. But can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. I want to discuss this recently special event that I have attended, and it was my graduation party. So it wasn't an
Just dropped the word there, I think. Wanted to hear the word attended. I think it was just dropped, wasn't it, or omitted?
Oh, please.
Okay. I want to discuss this recently special event that I have attended, and it was my graduation
I have attended. Okay, but just one slip.
party. So it wasn't an official party. It was just after
So we get that non-prevocalic R, the party, which is, you know, a feature of Indian English or Pakistani English or Bangladeshi English. It's also a feature of American English too, like party, except they drop their T to a D, party. British English, party. American English, party. Pakistani Indian English, party. So it's party, a little bit different. Again, I guess it can differ from examiner to examiner. I am of the view that, you know, the British, the Americans, the Australians don't own the English language, and that Indian English is absolutely fine and Pakistani English is absolutely fine, but we have to make some comment on pronunciation, and accent can affect it. But yeah, so while there is an accent, there's absolutely no, that accent doesn't cause any confusion at all with the listener. And for me, no difference between British accent or Pakistani accent, but will we get some precise phonological features? Let's listen.
exam, so we can call it an unofficial graduation party. And it was because we finished our exams.
So it was because, so we are getting that I, which is a precise thing. So I'm satisfied that there are, you know, I just wanted to hear some clear, precise vowel sounds, and I'm satisfied that those precise vowel sounds are there. The next thing in pronunciation I'm looking at, because I'm thinking of 9 for pronunciation, but I want to see some good examples of like either catenation, assimilation, or elision. So it's basically how things in pronunciation are mixed together. Like sometimes instead of saying like, do you want to go for a walk, we say, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for a walk? That do you becomes a j, which is what we call assimilation. Sometimes we drop letters, like computer, or we soften letters, elision. Yeah, it doesn't matter, all of these linguistic terms, I've used them a little bit, but I'm looking for aspects of connected speech. Will we find them?
And we just had our viva left, and our teachers thought that we should all gather and celebrate this big achievement.
Okay, missing the th a little bit. Our teachers taught instead of thought. So missing that precise sound, but I still think that's not always, it's not always incorrectly used. But her speed of speech is fast. In fact, I find it a little bit too fast. I think she can breathe a little bit and slow down.
It was held in the Polo Frito restaurant, which is
Oh, sorry about that.
just next to our university. So many of us students can come.
Yeah, so notice that next to our university, next to our, so next to, she doesn't pronounce the 2 T's, she pronounces it as 1 T, next to our, and which is correct, or which is an aspect of that connected speech, next to our university. It's something we do naturally when we speak quickly, when we speak fluently, next to our university. Also, I think we got the weak form of to, so we have all of our words in English have the strong form to and the weak form to, next to our. And because our starts with a vowel sound, our, that to, that w in to should go on the beginning of the hour. So it should be next to our, next to our, next to our university, next to our university. Let's just listen to that part again.
Polo Frito restaurant, which is just next to our university.
Cool. So she's changed from our to our, which is fine. Next to our university. So that connected speech is there. Great, wonderful. I don't even need to listen more for pronunciation. Just listening out for maybe a few more of those the th sounds. Will we get repeated mistakes with that?
So many of us students can come from far places, and the best choice was to have
The best choice. We got the, great.
it near our university, and that was because we won't have any transport issue.
that was because, she said that was because we won't have, it should be that was because we wouldn't have, that was because sequence of tenses, back shifting, taking step back, that is because we won't, that was because we wouldn't. Small, minor grammar mistake, but I could certainly imagine an L1 user making such a mistake.
We'll give our paper, and then in the evening we can go to that restaurant and enjoy. All my
So cool. And then in the evening. So we got the in the then, but in the evening. So we get some mispronunciations of the and the, but not many.
teachers were there and all my friends also. And it was very special for me because I'm a studious person and I've rarely gone to any university event.
Cool. So extra stress on really, and I've really gone to any, and I've really gone, really putting that extra stress on there to again enhance meaning. Cool.
So my teachers, one day before that event, my teachers especially called me and told me, Zainab, you have to come there, and it's the last.
You have to come there. My teachers called me and said, you have to come there. So going into direct speech, changing her intonation to show that she's in direct speech, putting that extra stress on, you have to go there. This is really strong, really high level stuff.
Last party. And she kind of scolded me that I'm very worried about you.
She scolded me that. I don't. There are some verbs that I don't feel work well as reporting verbs. Like she answered that she was going to do it, or she scolded me that she was going to do it. I think with those verbs, a little participle of saying is there. She scolded me saying that she was blah blah blah, or she answered saying blah 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 blah. I think that would be just slightly better in terms of style, but I have to focus on tiny details to find anything wrong here.
You don't have any social activities, so please come. And I think that's
Activities. So again, an accent is present, but doesn't stop meaning. Just looking for. So I'm thinking between 8 and 9 for pronunciation, and now I want to listen to some consonant sounds just to see if any of them are overly softened, because I know that this is a feature of Indian English that you kind of, or Pakistani English or Bangladeshi English, like Southern Asian English. Sorry, my geography isn't perfect. Will we get too much softening of those consonants? If we do, it could be enough to pull it down to an 8, but I'm certainly between 8 and 9 on pronunciation.
a very big thing for me that my teachers remember me. And I actually am the gold medalist of my class. So my teacher gave me a certificate also over there, and I was really, really genuinely happy. All my friends and classmates, which I haven't even talked to a lot in these
Yeah, classmates which? Classmates who? Classmates are people. That's, again, I could imagine an L1 user making that mistake.
4 years of my bachelor's degree actually came to me, and they were very happy that we have seen you first time in a very good dress, because in university I've just dressed casual without any care. And in the future, I guess I'm going to focus on attending more social.
So we can just see in terms of her strategy what's happened here. So she's run out of things to say, right? So she's completed the card. One reason for that could be poor management of time while she's preparing. She might not have managed her time correctly, like how she's going to fill the 2 minutes. I think it's more likely that when she practices her speaking part 2 by herself in front of the mirror, she speaks more slowly because she's more relaxed. However, when she's in this high pressure environment, a recorded speaking test with a stranger, someone she's never met before, someone who's going to be listening and judging her language. This is a high stress environment, and I think because of that, she's speaking more quickly than she should, and that's why she's filled her time. But she hasn't given up. She's now started speaking about the future. In the future, I'm going to focus more on my social life, which is kind of irrelevant to the task, isn't it? If you talk about a special event you attended, there's nothing really in there about like, okay, well, what are you going to do now in the future? But it's better that she does this than, it's still linked somewhat to the theme, and it's better that she does this than just give up. So I like that she's continuing to speak, showing a great willingness to speak at length without any discomfort. Good for her fluency.
Events, because this moment actually impacted me a lot. That yes, I don't only have to study and focus on my career, I also have to make time.
So did you notice that have to, we get that full form of to, have to study. We really want to shorten that have to study, have to study. Sometimes people overpronounce things. I'm an English teacher. I overpronounce a lot of my words when I'm speaking, and I have to be careful with this. But notice, I have to be careful. I have to be careful. Not I have to be. Have to be careful. So something to look at in some of those constructions. I want to do something. I'm planning to do something. With those infinitives, I have to do something. I used to do something.
For my friends, teachers, and colleagues.
Yeah, for my friends instead of for my friends. So there are some parts of connected speech that might just be lacking there, that we don't always get the weak forms where we should get the weak forms. For versus for versus for.
Okay, thank you. And do you still keep in touch with these students and this teacher now?
Yes, we occasionally message each other on WhatsApp. Our teacher asks us, "What are you doing? Do you need any help?"
That's nice. Okay, so you've been speaking about a special event that you attended.
All right, part 2 done. I'm still between the 8 and the 9 for pronunciation. Fluency and coherence. I'm going towards the... I think it has to be a 9 for fluency and coherence. Sorry, I'm getting confused with fluency and cohesion, fluency and coherence. It's fluency and coherence. I'm at... I think I have to be at the moment at the 9. Lexical resource... I don't know if we quite have enough for a 9. Do we? Probably 8. Grammatical range and accuracy, probably 8, and fluency between 8 and 9. But let's see how part 3, still a bit of time. So can we see some really, really great vocab here? Can we be blown away by supernatural vocab? Not trying too hard vocab, not the it's really my cup of tea vocab, but can we get really topic specific natural vocab in enough to push it to the 9?
Now I'd like to talk about cultural and social events in general. What kinds of events are considered special in your culture?
Events are held special, especially the
So we just had a bit of lag, a bit of freezing, but okay.
Eid holidays. We have 2 main Eid holidays. One is Eid al-Fitr and the other is Eid al-Adha. The Eid al-Adha one just happened a week ago, and this is where we have
Again, speaking a little bit too quickly.
a public holiday, and that is why it's very special. So the whole country is actually closed, and people come out, they mix with each other, we eat good food and celebrate.
They come out, they mix with each other, they celebrate. Okay, it's normal language, not quite enough yet for a 9.
And how do cultural events impact the local community?
Well, I guess we all get a chance to take a break from all our studies.
Okay, I guess. Great. We all get a chance. Great to take a break. Really nice awareness of collocation and style.
In our work, so all the adults and the children can gather around, and it can strengthen the whole community.
And are traditional events becoming less important in modern society?
Yes, I do think so, and that is
Nice grammar. Yes, I do think so.
because we're actually becoming very materialistic, and we care about more pop cultures and
Materialistic pop culture. She's definitely doing well with vocab here.
Concerts more than these traditional events. Actually, some people in my country actually flex that we're not attending any
Flex. They flex.
Eid event. We're so mature and everything, and I think that's a sign that we're actually focusing on more recent modern culture than our traditions.
And let's move on now and talk about memorable experiences. Why do some events remain memorable for a long time while others are quickly forgotten?
Well, I guess because it depends on that person, and if something happens, a special thing happens, it impacts our memory. It gets embedded in our memory. While others, if we have a bad experience,
Gets embedded in our memory. Nice.
that also can get in our memory, and we think that, oh my God, this happened to me. And if it's a good one, also. But if we haven't had, like, if I go to any event and it's just food and thing, I think I'm going to forget it. And on the other hand,
Good. I like this use of going to in the conditional. A lot of students are fixed and think that they must use if and present simple and will in their conditionals, but no, Zainab doesn't need to worry and think about all of these grammatical constructions because they are just there in her head.
and if my teacher actually gave me something, and of course I'm going to remember that more than the food.
And how do people's perceptions of an event change over time?
Well, I think if we attend one main event that happens every year, if we go once, we might have high expectations, and it doesn't overcome our expectations. We think that something's lacking. But if we go in the next year and we find something very interesting, because creativity actually improves every year, we get young people who might have been organizing that event, and they have more creativity, who might be impressed at that time.
And finally, do you think attending special events can change a person's perspective or behavior?
Well, not really. If
Not really, just excellent intonation.
someone has, I think I believe that perceptions don't change, especially in those people. Like if I talk about myself, that it won't change much. If I have something, I'm going to be very loyal to my own thinking. And some people do regard that even if we get happy in our minds, in our hearts, we won't show it, and we'll think that it's going to hurt our ego.
But don't you think perhaps somebody you mentioned in your culture who's more interested in pop culture now?
So I'm really trying to test her here. So we've got through most of the questions, and I'm trying to refer back to something that she said. Um, Often you find that when an examiner challenges or suggests something to a candidate, that they often go with the examiner thinking that, oh, the examiner is suggesting something, therefore I must agree. So I'm trying to test her and getting, trying to. She's already said that no, going to. Sorry, the question was whether attending special events can affect a person's perception or behavior, and Zainab has said no and given her reasons. And now I'm trying to offer a case or offer a situation in which attending one of those festivals could perhaps change the behavior or perception. And I want to see how she deals with this test of, being challenged.
If they went to a special event celebrating one of the Eids, do you think this could change the way that they view their own traditions and their own culture?
I think that's rarely going to happen, because
Really, maybe that this her really sounds a little bit like really. That's really going to happen. That's really going to happen. That's rarely going to happen. So not absolutely precise with that small vowel. Rare. That's rarely going to happen. Or if you don't like really, use hardly ever. That's hardly ever going to happen.
in our culture,
View their own traditions and their own
And I think we get the full going to. You could use gonna.
culture.
I think that's rarely going to happen, because
Going to happen. So there's nothing wrong with using the full form of going to. I use it sometimes. I'm going to see my friend tomorrow. I'm going to have dinner later. Nothing wrong, but you can use this shortened form of gonna. Like that's rarely gonna happen. That's how most people speak, and it's a sign of connected speech. So I can't give too many like areas to work on, but maybe sometimes change your going to a gonna. I don't know.
in our culture, if we see the younger generation, even if they think so, they're not going to admit it, because then everyone is going to make fun of them. Right now,
Again, this full form of going to.
bullying is very much common, especially in my country, in younger generation.
It's very common, not very much common. It's very much a common thing, very much plus noun. It's very much a common thing, but it's very common. It's extremely common.
And just to stay with that crowd, they're going to say, no, I do like pop culture and not these traditional things.
Again, we get that addition of the auxiliary, and she's done this in the test, I think 4 or 5 times, but I think each time she had a valid case. There was good justification to do it. So even though she used that grammar 4 or 5 times, I felt like it was still natural.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test.
All right, so difficult to, I mean, not very difficult to give scores. I know that her level is C2. That's absolutely fine. But what do we give her exactly? So fluency and coherence, I'm giving the 9 for fluency and coherence. I think answers are fully extended, developed. Your answers are also super clear and easy to follow. You use a full range of discourse markers and discourse strategies or tactics. You know, this thing of jumping between things, landing on something, when you're challenged on something, you go, nah, I think that's really the case. You also use your intonation to show agreement or disagreement and things like this. Yeah, there's not much more I can say that I can say about that. You speak at length with absolutely no sign of discomfort at all. Any hesitation is connected to your content, not your language. It's 9. Cool. If you disagree with me, fine. Lexical resource. Oh, do we have enough for a 9? I think we do. Like, were there any cases where it could have been slightly better, perhaps? But I think there was enough for a 9 in there. So again, I'm just going to write something super boring. You demonstrate a full range of lexical resource. You use simple and less common lexi. You show a great awareness of style and collocation. You know, it gets embedded, take a chance. Your language is topically relevant. Yeah, really full range, not much I can say. Grammatical range and accuracy, we are a little bit lower here. So of course 8, and you might look at it and go, oh, I wanted a 9, of course, but 8 is still phenomenally high. Keep that in mind. So in general, okay, you have a wide range, or you have a wide range of simple and complex sentences. You also show a good variety in your structures. So, you know, between, you know, different types of verb forms, present time, past time, we get perfect aspect, we get some continuous aspect, we get some perfect modals in there. I think there was even a perfect continuous modal, like they might have been organizing this. So we get a really, really huge variety. However, there are occasional slips in your grammar, and probably too many for the 9. So, you know, like I thought it will happen or something like this, or researches or something like this, or too much careful instead of too careful. I don't know what the adjective was, but just probably a few too many grammatical inaccuracies for the full 9. And maybe pronunciation just slightly down to 8. So you have, I want to say your pronunciation is phenomenal. It's wonderful. And I love your intonation. Your intonation is absolutely perfect. You show more or less a full range. It's higher than wide range, but perhaps it's not quite full. You still have some problems with some vowel sounds, like really instead of rarely. Tough, a couple of t instead of th, couple of examples of those. So more or less a full range of phonological features. Okay, boring linguistic language. While you show a lot of, I'm going to change some. While you connect your speech well in many places, you perhaps don't sustain this throughout. It's very pedantic. Be careful, especially with strong and weak words, forms of words. So what do I mean by this? Well, again, if I take my favorite sentence, I am going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. Okay, take that sentence and let's find the content words here. Go, shop, buy, bread. So those are the words that should stand out, and all of the other words should be weak. I'm going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. I'm going to go to the I am going to go. You know, careful speakers, yeah, it's okay. I am going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. You can still hear da 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 da. But the fully connected speech is I'm going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. I'm going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. This isn't just about speaking quickly. I can say this slowly too. I'm going to go to the shop because I want to buy some bread. I can say it slowly but connected. And perhaps we don't quite have the fully connected speech because very often some of those words that are not content words, those prepositions are sometimes stressed, articles, auxiliaries, and so on, determiners, quantifiers, those words that should be weak in the sentence, they aren't always weak. So I feel bad for pulling it down, but overall 8.5, absolutely phenomenal performance from Zainab. Can she get a 9? Absolutely. Will I be surprised if she gets a 9? No. Will I be surprised if she gets an 8? No. Will I be surprised if she gets 7.5? Yeah. So I think she should get at least an 8 in her real test, but certainly she has the potential to get a 9. Okay, it's very rare that I spend a speaking test only giving positive things, so hopefully I'll find some more negativity in my heart for the next video. Hopefully you found that useful. Again, just to give you an idea of some of the things that go through an examiner's mind when they're checking speaking. I am doing free writing feedback in the month of June, as you can see here, and also I may have some time to give some more practice speaking tests. More and more people have started contacting me, which is nice. But I will say, if you are one of the 70 subscribers now, if you are one of those few people who watch these videos and you think, well, I would maybe like for Glyn to check my writing, or I would like to do a speaking test, but I feel a little bit nervous, my advice to you is really get in touch as soon as possible, because, you know, I expect when someone experienced comes on the internet and offers things for free, at first everybody thinks this person is a scammer. But when they can see repeatedly that this person is offering things for free, it doesn't take a long time for a lot of people to come and to ask. And so right now, I haven't said no to anybody. 100% of the people who have come to me and asked for writing feedback or speaking feedback, I have said yes. In a month's time, I don't think it will be possible for me to say yes to everybody, simply because I think there will be more and more people. So if you are one of those few people who are watching and you'd like to have your speaking test, please do get in touch now, because it could be too late in a month. But who knows? Maybe I will not get more requests. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hopefully this was useful. Have a wonderful evening, and bye-bye.